Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I'm really excited to be here with Ruff, Endz, David, and Dante here. Really appreciate you guys coming out. You all know them. I mean, so many hits. No More, Someone to Love. They continue to put out music. They're on their 5th album out now, and they've still been doing it 40 years putting it down. I mean, that longevity, two brothers, that alone is something amazing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Really appreciate having you guys here. So we always like everybody to go back to the beginning and sort of talk about just how you guys got together. And I tried to do a little bit of research. You have an amazing story, David, about originally actually being from Guyana and coming to Baltimore. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my family migrated to Baltimore from Guyana. The youngest of 10 brothers and sisters, man. So it was. We need our own segment to really dive into how we got here. But my dad was a pastor, and he came to America, and he was invited by a church in Baltimore. That and you know, God used him. He did a lot of miracles at this church. He told people about what they did yesterday, kind of thing, like literally. And they had such an amazing time that they thought they raised an offering, the church raised an offering, and that's how my family got to Baltimore. So that's the short version of the story. But you know, I grew up in Baltimore, and growing up, when I was around 5 or 6 years old, I moved to an area called West Baltimore, and that's where me and Dante kind of hooked up as kids, and later hooked up in high school, and that's how our friendship really began.
Sure. So I wanted to get into some of your background too. So it seems like divine intervention drawing you guys together in terms of music, and that was always the attraction. So tell me sort of what you remember when you first saw this cat and he's playing the piano at the local high school.
Oh man, I was in the streets. Baltimore is one of those places. It's easy. It's easy in the city to get involved in the streets. You know, before the generations before, you would have the OGs, you know, quote unquote OGs, you know, keeping you out the streets. As the generations moved forward, it was the opposite. It's easy. So for me, I was running the streets, doing things. But I really was into music. I know I wanted to follow it and change my life in a certain kind of way. So that was all like encapsulating it in one, changing my life and getting into music at the same time. Man, when me and David got back together and linked up, and we had that familiarity, like, yeah, I know your family, yeah, we in that same neighborhood. It was like I wanted to do what he wanted to do. We was on the same wavelength, no matter where I was coming from, where he was coming from. It's like we met at a place, and it was a saving grace for me, because I definitely know it was one of those things that changed my mindset, and my mindset is the thing that got me out the streets and out of just thinking I got to do certain things to survive and got to do certain things to be relevant in the neighborhood. So,
do you guys sometimes see yourselves as brothers from a different mother?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All the time.
We definitely brothers, man. You know,
all the time.
God got a way of giving you brothers that don't have your last name and don't have your blood, but it's a brother, you know what I mean? So, you know, he definitely gives you what you need. Sometimes we put the focus on our blood family, but we might be mad at them, but there's another person, God is like, he's the brother that you have, he's the sister, that might be the father or whatever, the figure that you might be mad at your real father, but there's another person that is really filling the gap.
Filling the void.
But sometimes we overlook them, you know what I mean? So, indeed.
So let's talk about the steps of like actually putting this together. So here you guys are essentially trying to really put together a quartet, 4 guys, because that's sort of the traditional, and some of the groups you guys look up to, that's what they're doing, whether it's Boys to Men or Jodeci or things like that. And talk to us about that experience and what it's really like when you guys are somewhat bonded or connected, at least same mindset, but you're trying to make it into a foursome.
Man, you did your homework, brother.
Right.
Homework. That's what's up.
Again, I know people can relate if you ever tried to put together a team of minds, especially with distractions.
Girls.
Youth alone is a distractor because you got testosterone on another level that you almost can't control in the city, and you relevant. You starting to get known because you singing or you doing so. Oh my God! So it's like keeping everybody on one accord long enough to get something accomplished.
Right.
A lot of times in itself is succeeding. A lot of times in itself that you're really doing it, because a lot of us, you know, we're distracted by different reasons. Family. I mean, it was good. It wasn't all like, you know, reasons. Yeah, some of them was real good reasons. Some of them was like, you know, like a friend of ours named Will. We called him Al. His family, just like David's family, was really, you know, into the church. So they wasn't having him singing secular music.
Right.
You know, he was still trying to break away. We was trying to do it in school, but when we got out of school, it was like, okay, it's game time. We ain't in school. It's like, let's do it. We gonna either get these jobs or pursue this music. We gotta do something.
Right.
And so it was like, man, David just pushed everything to the side to say, this is the most important thing.
Right.
And that made the difference for us. I know it made the difference for me. Like I said, it took me away from the streets, but at the same time, it gave me purpose. But it was what I really wanted to do. I really seen myself doing it. And the people that didn't see themselves doing it, or doing it with us, or doing it at all, I don't know, I guess it didn't turn out the same. Because we really seen ourselves doing this. Like, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't like, oh, y'all chasing a dream. We had people literally tell us that.
Sure.
Family members, friends. Man, listen, I know y'all love that music, but maybe you might want to think about getting you a job or going to school for this. You know, at the same time, a lot of those same people are people that cheer us on, like, man, I'm proud that you stuck with it. You know what I mean? Like,
They change now, you know.
like, man, I never thought you could do it. Like, see, that's the point. You didn't think we could do it. It wasn't really your dream or your goal to pursue like us. So I couldn't expect you to see it like us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Us, we were there already. Right. You wasn't saying like, oh, maybe. No, it's gonna happen. I can't say when, but we gonna keep pushing.
Exactly.
So for us, it was like, you know, we love these guys. To this day, we love those guys, you know, but we just didn't see one accord enough to make it there together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Respectfully, I know we learned something and we grew from all of our experiences from them, you know, so shout out to the guys that, you know.
And shout out to, in light of OGs, you mentioned OGs.
OG Pierce.
Not OG Pierce, but like OGs in the game, people that was older than us. We had a conversation with Bruce Scola. We used to call him Bruce Scola, but he's Scola De Niro from Drew Hill.
Right.
And Scola De Niro is one of the ones that really had a turning point in us making a decision to be a duo.
Right.
Because like you said, a quartet was what we wanted, you know what I mean? So we were really trying to find two more guys, you know what I mean? So it was like, if we didn't have two guys, what we had, we was like, we gotta make this work, so we gotta find. So he was like, no, just do it with y'all too. Y'all are enough, you know what I mean? You got this, you know what I mean? And it was that conversation that was the turning point of us becoming a duo, which was really the birth of Ruff Endz.
Who were some of the people that acted as an influence for you musically?
Definitely, I gotta say one of them is who we just mentioned, Bruce Scola. Because he was one of the people in our neighborhood that made us see that it was possible. Because we knew him. We like know him, knew his family. I know all his mom, Miss Dot, I know all of them, his brother Kevin. We lived next door to each other, all of that. Just to see him do a video. The video is on a radio station that we know, that we listen to all the time. V103, V103 Jams playing, and they play his song and they come on right after Marvin Gaye or something. I'm like, okay. I like, as a kid, just think about it, I'm just saying, I'm an adult now. As a kid, I'm looking at it like,
this is real.
He really did that. Then he shot the video. I was in his little video. I was in his video that he did called What Goes Around Comes Around, and Let's Get Personal. They still play the song in Baltimore in the clubs. So to me, we both seen that as a sign, almost as a sign and as like a blueprint, like He took it serious. He got his music. What did he do? That's what we found out.
Right, what are those steps?
Yeah, what did he do? He got his music together. He got somebody to back him if he ain't had the money, and he went going to the radio station. I'm like, it's real. I'm like, from a distance, you might see other people do it. Oh, Marvin Gaye, he's from wherever. You thinking he got some kind of advantage. No, I seen this guy. I know he hustled. Right, I know his father hustled. Big Rufus, like, and he doing music? Bro, what's up? Like, so him coming to us and telling us, like, you don't need a 4-man group like Jodeci or like Boys II Men to be relevant. And he started telling us about people like Sam and Dave, who we knew nothing about, who sing Soul Man.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm like, and we looked it up, like, it's 2 people and they killing it. And we saying, you remember? And they doing that little stuff. So I'm like, bro, we can do this. Like, so inspiration-wise, as far as up personal and close, Ruscola. Then of course people like, for me, James Brown, Bobby Womack, John P. Key. We got into the John P. Key and the Commission and the Fred Hammonds and all of those people with the heavy, crazy voices. So our influences run deep. Like, we try to remind people of that every show we do. Most definitely so. So inspiration-wise, as far as up personal and close, Ruscola. And then of course people like, for me, James Brown, Bobby Womack, John P. Key. We got into the John P. Key and the Commission and the Fred Hammonds and all of those people with the heavy, crazy voices. So our influences run deep. Like, we try to remind people of that every show we do. Most definitely so.
Talk to us about some of those steps and staying on the grind to actually get a contract, because that is not an easy thing at all. So many people have dreams, even today, is getting that piece done, and just walk us through some of that.
Well, I think for us it was, you know, it was constantly working on the craft, because sometimes you don't know where you are in your skill set. Like, sometimes you may be premature in your skill set, and when you go try to get a deal, it doesn't work. And that doesn't mean you give up. So we didn't do that, and I think that was one of the defining factors for us. Like, we had a lot of no's along the way, you know what I mean? But we never stopped growing. So by the time, the second thing is being in the environment of what you're trying to do. If, like, I'm trying to be in real estate, I need to be around realtors, people that are investors, networking at events, going to the hotel, seeing what's happening. You know, immerse yourself in the environment, and that's what I think we did. We did everything in Baltimore City. We did all the shows, talent shows, and we kind of outgrew Baltimore. And then, and that led us to a guy named Troy Patterson, which Troy led us to a woman named Stephanie Cook. And Stephanie Cook led us to OG Pierce. And that was, you know, basically one thing after another that led us to our deal, because OG is the one that signed us to his production company, and he had the relationships over there at Sony with Dave McPherson and a gentleman by the name of Ron Grant. So it was, you know, the short version of it is just basically never stop. We kept doing, we kept growing, and we immersed ourselves in the environment. And those 2 things, I think, was vital to people seeing us, seeing that we're serious, and seeing that these guys, after a while, like, these guys, you know what I mean? They ain't going nowhere. They doing it. And somebody saw the vision, you know what I mean? Randy Jackson didn't see it. Sylvia Rohn, she saw it at one time, but she gave us a demo deal. We did the demo. It was like, it's not enough for her to sign us, but we never stopped. And then it was OG that saw the vision. And in that demo we did with him, you know, it made it happen. So.
Absolutely. Talk to us about sort of that key moment where you're actually working on the album and stuff like that, and you feel like, okay, we've got lightning here in a bottle.
It was definitely surreal, because, like he said, sometimes when you're in it, it's hard to see where you're at in your skill set. Like, because we love music, a lot of the stuff we did, we loved. We loved the songs. It was, oh my God, that was my favorite song. So it's like, at the same time, you think you know what a hit is, you think you know what's gonna hit, but you're still waiting to see what, you know, your peers around you gonna say, the people you sign with, your producers, certain people, even the fans. Like, you know, it's like that thing of, you know, because I got favorite songs now that I wish was singles that I feel like could come out and tear the charts up. Like, so we went on what they call a black college tour. It's urban colleges across the country. Cameron, a guy named Porter Rock, the guy who originally came up with What's Up? You know that? What? He was original, a guy from New York, Puerto Rican guy. So the only people they really knew on the tour was Cameron, and the only single he had at the time that they knew was Horse and Carriage, which was still a minute before he was out. So we were on the tour, and it was like the 5 Heartbeats saying, like, we got to fight every night to prove our love. We had to fight every night to prove our love. Like, they ain't know who we was. Some people thought, is y'all 2 of the members from Jodeci that left? They asking us all kind of crazy questions, and we like, yo, this is crazy. But we had the eye of the tiger, like, we are not going to be denied. You feel them? You ain't going to deny me. So we come out on stage with that cockiness every night. We fight. By the time we get to the end of the tour, by the time we got to Baltimore, to Morgan, which is a college in Baltimore, they started playing No More Shopping Sprees on the box. At that moment, it was hitting me like, okay. They wasn't just playing it, they were playing it. And you know, it was like user-friendly to the point where people was requesting it. So you could see down the bottom where people would punch it in the order. You could see the video about to come up. We would see it popping up a lot. This is right before they took it off. I hated that.
Right, because that was that show, right? It was a video show.
Yeah,
so like before,
request
I
the
think
order
even
and they would
before
play
MTV Raps.
Come on, man. It was a beautiful platform to me. But they started playing it like crazy. And to us, it was like that warm, fuzzy feeling, because we knew at the same time, all of those no's, all of those people that doubted us, all of the people that believed in us, all of the people that was kind of 1 foot on the boat, 1 foot off, they looking, and I know they see it now. I know they see it now, baby. Like, yeah, that's really them. That's really, they did it. Like, it was the feeling of like gratification on another level, like, all that work and heartache and sweat and pain and late nights and no's and da-da-da. It was a great feeling. That definitely was that moment, one of the moments.
And after that, do things just sort of take off like a spree or something like that, where it is just so hard to keep up with the pace of the demands and now all the things that you have to do to continue to really sort of push it out there and make it go nationwide?
I mean, even getting to that point is nonstop work. So when you're working so hard that your head is down, and while your head is down, it's happening, sometimes you don't always realize how fast it's happening. You know, like even when we were going to the radio station and they were playing our song, like we didn't get a chance to hear it on the radio because we were doing the interview. It still wasn't real until like, you know, we was in the car and we was like, cause I remember the first time we wanted to leave the radio station, go outside in the car. Like, can we go outside in the car and like listen to it? You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, it didn't hit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we were literally doing interviews, so many interviews. We had press days where it was like, you know, several hundred interviews we did in a span of 3 days. People from all over the world, London, Japan. We had interviewers that they flew in, and we did interview after interview after interview, and we just had press days. So it was like days like that where we really, it just didn't hit. We just was working in the studio, going here, you know, tour, get some rest, and we back, you know what I mean? And then for me, it was like when, you know, it really hit me when the song hit #1 and we were in Atlanta, and it was like, y'all song reached the #1 spot on the R&B charts. And for us, you know, R&B was like our bloodline, you know what I mean? It's like what we dreamed. So to be #1 R&B song in the country was like a big deal. And it was like,
And then you still kind of get back on your grind and back in the studio, start working on essentially the next album and things like that.
exactly, it's just nonstop. Even that was just the single, but we still had the next video to shoot, and you know what I mean. And we were still promoting, and then going on tour, and the next level was now getting up on the tour. So Mary J. Blige, heard about us, heard our song, and she had us open up, you know what I mean? So it was like a huge deal to be on tour with the legendary Mary J. Blige.
Love her forever for that.
Always got love for Mary J. If you're watching, we love you. Appreciate you for giving us a moment and a chance to be on tour with you.
She believed in us.
Right, and how validating is that?
She
Did you
called
get that kind of call?
She called
Wow.
personally. They said she called personally. She really wants y'all to be on the second leg of this tour. The first leg was with Jagged Edge and somebody else, and then the second leg was us and Dave Hollister and her.
Right.
And it was just amazing. It was an amazing start-out experience for a career. It was an amazing jump and a jolt for our career for Ruff Endz. So shout out to Mary J. forever. Ever.
Exactly. MJB.
Does there come that moment where you're like, okay, we got to take a little bit of a break and figure out what our next move is and how we do that?
Definitely, we definitely had to have those moments because, and I was just talking about this today, we grew up on the road.
Right.
Like, this started, well, we say our early 20s, but really it started in our teens.
Yeah.
Like, really it started almost out of high school. Like, he's in between getting jobs and working at the Fudge and doing stuff and trying to record and pursue and make a way and meet people and network, and it just turned into this ongoing thing that was a part of our personal culture, our personal life. Like, it was our thing. Like, we sing, we hang around singers, we hang around producers, we meet people, we go to talent shows. That's what we do. We write songs together, we do stuff like that, we have rehearsals. So when we hit the road, it was like, and they're off, and it's like when people's going to stuff. It's like, what are you gonna do when it's done? What are you gonna do? You're gonna grow up and be a man. You're gonna have a wife. You're gonna have a daughter. You're gonna follow the road. You're gonna be an actor. What you gonna do? It's like no book, no instructor, no manual. Like, listen, you're coming into this. We're gonna give you this manual, so you can grow into and you do the artist and be a man and become a father and become a husband and become a where's the help for this? Where's the fairy godmother, fairy father, what? Like, it just happened. So, shout out to everybody that understands that life. Like, I wouldn't trade it, but in a way it's like, it's not for the weak of heart. Right. A lot of people, don't come out the other end of it so blessed and so fortunate, health-wise, mental state-wise. Like, it takes a lot of toll on you, because you're constantly dealing with people at different stages of their lives, whether it's fans, promoters, business, like.
And it's a big sacrifice as well.
It really is. Birthdays, how many birthdays you miss, how many anniversaries, how many events,
holidays,
funerals, weddings. Like,
times with the family, nieces and nephews growing up. By the time you see them again, you're like, this big, you're like, dang.
That is not you. That is not you. That ain't her, is it? It's me, Uncle. What?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And talk about life bringing you guys back together. We have this horrific event in Baltimore, and then you guys wind up actually getting reunited. Almost another type of divine thing. I think you were on the phone and you were pointing people out, and you guys reconnect. Just talk to us about sort of just saying, hey, let's do a song, do it for a city, try to help some healing.
Yeah, man, I think Baltimore was what they call the uprisings. Baltimore was on fire. There's a lot of people in the city of Baltimore, including myself, that were just not happy about police brutality in the city. And it's something that I gotten used to seeing. We were upset about it, but that's kind of what the extent would be. We'd just be upset about it because that's kind of how life was. But to actually see it, like, because we have social media, to actually be able to see somebody die on and this was Freddie Gray was amongst so many others that it was happening all around the country.
Not televised.
And not televised. To now see it, you know, it was just mind blowing to me. It was just creating this like, and we want, as artists, we want to do something because we are very passionate brothers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very passionate. I'm definitely a person that believes in humanity. You know what I mean? I believe, especially in us as a people, as black people in this country. To see, you know, the injustice being, you know, done, I want to do something. We wanted to do something, and that was kind of both of how we were feeling before we linked back up. So when I was on the phone, well, actually he was on the phone, but when I was in the car and I was driving and I was talking about how every time I see somebody, it looks like Dante. I was like, I'll be walking around.
Crazy story. It was real though.
This guy looked like Dante, and I turned the corner, and I'm like, see, this guy, see how he walked just like Dante. And when I said it, it was actually Dante. And you switch it to him, he's on the phone with a girl. He just did a show with a guy that was filling in for me. You know how artists, they bring in another person to be in the group.
Promoter calling hard, please do the show, please.
Exactly. So she, you know, she was talking to him like, yeah, I saw the show, y'all perform, and it was cool. You know, you killed it, but the guy, you know, he's nice, he can sing, but he's just not David. You know what I mean? You need to get your partner back in the
She was
group.
going hard too.
He's a different animal.
Yeah, different animal.
I mean, and all this stuff. And while she's saying this, I am looking at the person in my car saying, this look like Dante. This is all happening at the same time.
I'm glancing over like this.
When I realized as I'm driving and I'm getting like
he
close
got out
up
the
to
car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Funny.
I'm driving as I'm getting, because I'm seeing him from the back. As I get like towards the side, you know how you can see the side of like the back of somebody's face,
like
and then
him.
it gets to the side. Once I see his side profile, I'm like, that's Dante. And I stop the car, like I pull over, I don't even park. I pull over a little bit, and I get out the car, close the door, and I start running towards him. And he was like, he turns around and she's like going off. You need to get your partner back. I don't care what it is. Get him. And he's like, oh my goodness. You hold on.
You ain't gonna believe this.
You're not even gonna believe this. I'm talking to the girl right now, and I'm actually running up on him.
It was crazy.
And it was just divine intervention for real. Like, we got together, we linked. It's like slow motion, like something out of a movie for real. And you know, we linked up, and the whole conversation, when we linked up, we immediately started talking about what we can do for our city. Because it was such a heavy thing that was in the atmosphere in Baltimore. And that's, you know, once we had that conversation, we call it the black hole of conversation, where you talking for like
lost.
5 hours about it. We know we can do that sometimes as friends. We can we can talk about something forever. But we started talking about it, and we could, you know, we can tell that we were both feeling that burden, if you will. And we did a song called Time for Change, and that song was really the catalyst for us doing music again and wanting to do, you know, come back with a different spin. Not I'd say a different spin, but really focus our music on love, family, and music that inspires our people.
Positivity, purpose.
Talk to us, you're on tour now, still always out there and things like that. Talk to us about some of your projects that you're up to and what you're doing. And obviously the fans still love you, and these songs, they're classics now.
We've been getting in touch with promoters that we've known, like, for instance, friends of ours, like a guy named Gavin in the UK, and getting in contact with new promoters that's seeing that, oh, Ruff is back performing. So we've been getting booked a lot here and abroad, overseas, from Australia to Germany to UK, London. So we've been performing a lot. We have a project out that our fans and the R&B lovers really appreciate, which I love and appreciate that y'all appreciate it. Thank you again so much. We have a project called Rebirth. Like my brother was saying, we really focused on purposeful writing. You know, a lot of times, a lot of artists can't really control the material so much on the album, even us to a certain point. You know, we had albums where we had other writers, and you know, this song should be on the album for whatever reasons. This was completely us. Like, we did an album before this one that was completely us, but this one is like completely us. Like every song, every concept. So we were able to really tailor make it in a way that we would only do it because of, you know, we got personal feelings about there's not enough purposeful music out. You know, too much stuff is mixing raunchiness with classiness. It's like, where do the classy people go when they want to listen to music? They all go to old school. They gotta go, y'all gotta go back 20 years, 30, 40 years to play some music that you could play around your girl. Oh, I love that song. I want to play it around my kids. Oh, I can't play it around my kids because part of the song is talking about girl do this, do that. Girl do this for real, something, you know? So you gotta go back 40, 50 years to get that medium of quality of purposeful music. So for us, people that's watching, you know, purposeful music, positive music, however you want to call it, there's a medium strip that you get to as a writer that's not necessarily safe, but there's a lane for it that's needed. And that's the lane where as though a song that's, say, has enough sex appeal to it to play around your girl. Y'all having a moment. And like I said, play around your mother-in-law and it's still respectful.
Exactly.
That's writing to me. That's a medium. That's like, I'm just putting a bunch of words together that rhyme. No, I'm purposeful. I'm manhandling this language and these words to make it say what I wanted to say. So
we can be less PC. To what extent do you feel that real music is not quite being highlighted as much as it should by some of the studios and things like that? That it's much more, let's get it out quick and manufacture it.
I think music is music. There's a lot of music I like now, but I think the subject matter and the depth and a lot of, I use the word depth as to say it's not surface, it's not like stuff that's here today, gone tomorrow kind of music. A lot of the music from our era are what we call it classic because when you play it today, it's still gives you a feeling, you know what I mean? It does something. It's like a part of your soundtrack of life. I think we've gotten away from a lot of that kind of music because of a lot of things sounding like each other. There's a lot of that going on where a lot of things sound the same and some of the music today versus the diversity we had back in our era, which you were praised to have your own kind of sound and you know what I mean? So I feel like it's just a part of how things evolve with technology. Everybody's a producer. Right. Our studio was like a couple $100,000, could be $1 million studio. Now, for $1,500, you can get a little setup at your house and record, do vocals and everything. If you know what you're doing, you can make it sound like you recorded it. You know what I mean? So it's a lot more competition. Everybody's doing it, and that kind of changes the landscape of music. And producers, like real producers, what we call producers, are like people like Quincy Jones, people like Corey Rooney that produced Someone to Love You, people that were literally, they helped the song grow into its mature state.
R. Kelly.
You didn't just do a track and then you lay the song down. They made sure that the song was right, you know what I mean? And they helped develop songs, you know what I mean? So it was like song development, if you will. And those are the producers that's the era we come from, but I think a lot of the kids nowadays don't have that. So as you hear songs now, it's different in how it's structured and how it is, even though the beat is hot, you know. So it's a lot of changes on how things are, and I think all we have to do is just keep making music, man. I think, because of the internet, there's still a way to reach our fans, you know.
And they'll always be there, always be loyal. Our show is called Music and Medicine, and when you hear those words, what does that mean to you? How does that speak to you?
Oh man, it ties into what we was talking about, really. Like, you know, we know that people are not listening to no more Someone to Love You when they're going to rob somebody.
Right.
You know, so that's purposeful. That's like, okay, I'm thinking of taking my girl out to dinner versus hooking up with my homeboy to go steal somebody's car or rob somebody. So that purpose, that like, to even get deeper, as far as like, we have a song called Congratulations. Congratulations is another purposeful song that's a separation song instead of a breakup song, because we feel like it's a lot of breakup songs out there. And breakup songs are usually filled with crazy drama. And to some degree, I feel like people, they take that in to how they deal with things in their life. Like, Jennifer said she bust the windows out the dude's car when they broke up. I bust the windows out, and it's so catchy, and it's hot, and you know, I mean Jasmine, my bad, I said Jennifer, but you know, in a way it's like, oh, not really, but if you really think about it, it's like so many examples of breakups in your mind. If you hear it enough, it's like your brain, does it file it away? Not good or bad, or just what files do I go to when things go crazy? Avant, one of my favorite songs ever, but it's crazy. Yeah, girl, leave and da 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 and do this and that, and it's negative. So, to make a long story short, congratulations. It's two grown adults in a situation that didn't work out for them. That didn't mean that one was a skeezer, one was a low down, dirty something. It just meant it didn't work out for us. We didn't think it was gonna be what we thought it was, and we make an agreement to go our separate ways. And we get to the part of the song where say, she found somebody, the person she was looking for. I found the person that was making me happy, and I realized that we were arguing for nothing. It was all a part of God's plan. So to us, it was like that music. You know, you want more like healing. Healing in a way where as though I can put on something when I want to be torn down. I can put on, you know, certain mergy or certain when I want to just feel that and vent. But where's the songs when I need to heal, when I need to be thinking like, I need to let that go. That wasn't good for me. I need to stop crying over that. That needs to be a soundtrack for that. So for me, it's like, we did our No More Shopping Spree songs. So then we got to Someone to Love You. For, you know, that's two sides of it to me. So it's like, I love that Someone to Love You side. I love the healing side to say, oh, I was going through this and I used to listen to y'all song. So to me, that's medicine. That's like, you know, that's like people can listen to that and say, I played it for all day. I put it on repeat. To me, something is happening with that person, like, you know. So
it goes back to our original, like when we got back together again, when we saw what was happening with our people, our whole goal was to have a perspective of healing. So we can break up and still leave each other in a better situation emotionally versus all this baggage that you take to the next relationship. And it doesn't help because we all got here from two people that came together. You know what I mean? We between the lines.
Absolutely.
So if we can help relationships with our brand and our music, we feel like we can change the community, you know what I mean? Or help to change the community. And that's why we write songs like Congratulations, and we write songs like Time for Change and you know, Only One I See, and you know, marriage songs and all those kind of things.
Sure. Well, I think it's also exemplified by your relationship, the fact that you all, you know, there's not a ton of smut in the news and things like that, and throwing stones at each other, and he did this, and still being able to get back together, stay together, be friends, continue the friendship, and continue to do what you guys both love, which is essentially some of what drew you together to begin with. Shameless plug, tell us where can we find you. We know you're Ruff Endz, but tell us about the website.
Yep, officialruffendz.com, www.officialruffendz.com.
It's with a Z at the end, RUFFENDZ. I'm sorry, bro, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to say that because still to the day, people still put an S, which is right, you're right. We're not saying you're wrong, but we put a Z at the Ruff Endz, so it's RUFFENDZ, the official Ruff Endz.
Tell them where to find us on the gram.
You can find us, Official Ruff Endz on the gram as well. Official Ruff Endz, hit us up. Tag us. We've been having people tag us yesterday with videos and pictures from the show, from the amphitheater. Much love to y'all, and appreciating to y'all for all our fans that support live music. I just want to say thank you for supporting R&B and live music. We love y'all so much for that.
Hope to see y'all at a stage near you. All the promoters, hit us up on our page, Official Ruff Endz, that's with a Z, and our contact information is there. And we look forward to connecting with our fans, man.
And
shout
thank you
out
to
this brother.
Yeah, for having
Shout out to
us.
this brother for having us. Thank
Making
you
us
for
relevant.
having
No,
us.
we're honored, and definitely because since we're doing a full round circle, we can't forget Ro Brooks bringing us together.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Baltimore, Rose, he's the one that made it happen.
It's more history, more of our story.
He's a part of
It's
the
more
story.
of our
Absolutely,
story.
exactly. He's there in Baltimore, pushing out the
Yup.
records,
Same
doing his own
neighborhood,
record
all
store
that.
and stuff like that, making the record labels, doing all the promotions.
Acting.
So exactly, acting as
Movies and
well.
Stuff, have nots.
Definitely, yeah, no. Well, the healing and the sincerity really come across, the gratitude. I mean, I don't think it was less than 3 times that you all thanked the fans. I can tell you, we're almost 200 interviews in with some household names even
make it
every
real.
day, and it doesn't happen all the time. So it really comes across that you all are appreciative, and we appreciate you all staying together, grinding out, continue to stay friends and whatnot, literally not trying to kill each other, literally or figuratively.
That's a
That
feat.
alone is a tremendous blessing, especially in the industry. I think many times it's almost intending to pull people apart because there's so many different things that are going on, and people get distracted and not realize, hey, the music brought us together. Don't let the business tear us apart. So your career exemplifies that.
And it's a blessing to be able to do what we
Thank
do,
you,
man.
brother.
Like you don't get a chance to do this, you know what I mean? So it's like when you look at it in the big scope
It
of
really
things,
is
it's
a
not
blessing.
worth it. So again, it's platforms like yours that allows groups like us from our era to actually connect with our fans. So we definitely got to give it back to you for doing this, not just for us, but for the world of R&B and keeping this music alive and keeping these brands alive, man. So appreciate you.
Sure, no, absolutely. No, we think it's important. Thanks so much. Appreciate having you guys. Thanks again. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis.